Why Arsenal should sign Memphis Depay, Arteta's false 9 LACAZETTE replacement, episode 6 of 6. So this will be the final episode of my 6-part series where I will be looking at the centre forward I think Arsenal should sign, effectively as a LACAZETTE replacement. It may be worth watching the first episode in this series where I talk about who Arsenal should be looking to offload, what positions Arsenal need to strengthen and what sort of players they need in each position. The first 5 episodes will be linked in the description below. Later on in the video I will also be analysing how Arteta could set up his hypothetical side tactically with all my signings integrated into the team. So as I stated in the first episode of this series, Arsenal need to sign a centre forward who can replace Alexander Lacazette, who at 28-29 in May, and having just 2 years left on his contract is a player who is more of a detriment in the long run to Arsenal than an enhancement due to his market value decreasing and the big wages that he's currently on. In his place, rather than signing a so-called out-and-out centre forward, Arsenal should be looking to move for a player who can play the role of a false 9 effectively, as this is a type of centre forward that will not only bring the best out of the players around them, but the system as a whole. I considered forwards like Dries Mertens, Joe Linton, Gabriel Barbosa and Andre Silva, but the player I decided was the best fit for Arsenal was Memphis Depay. Depay has just turned 26, so is the perfect age to really blossom into a world-class player. He also has just 1 year left on his contract with Lyon, meaning the fee demanded to sign him will be dramatically reduced. I think he could be attainable for around £30 million, which is much lower than the 50 to 60 million that Lyon were demanding to sign him a few seasons ago. Memphis is a versatile player who was formerly a left winger who would play as an inside forward but now has begun to develop into a false 9, having been excellent for the Netherlands and for Lyon on a few big occasions. His dribbling ability, ball control, vision and passing ability are all fantastic, which makes him well suited to the false 9 role. In terms of chance creation, Memphis stands out not just in France but in Europe as well. Despite Lyon being pretty terrible this season, Memphis has still recorded the 13th highest expected assist rate in the league with 0.24 per 90 minutes. For key passes he ranks 18th best in the league with 2.2 per 90 minutes, which does seem surprisingly low. However, if we look back at last season when Lyon were far more stable, we can see Memphis' true creative ability. In the 2018-19 season, Memphis Depay had the highest expected assist rate of any non-PSG player in Ligue 1, with 0.32 per 90 minutes, 5th overall. He also created the second most key passes per 90 minutes that season, with 3.7, behind only Dimitri Payet. From these metrics I would conclude that Memphis Depay is among the top 4 best creators in France, behind only Neymar, Mbappe and Payet. This is probably the most crucial attribute for a false 9, the ability to create chances. This is because unlike a conventional forward, whose fundamental and main task it is to put the ball into the back of the net, the false 9 is tasked with using his movement to allow the system to function effectively, and being the main source of advanced creativity in the side, playing more as an attacking midfielder in possession than a poacher type striker. Depay is also making a decent amount of dribbles as well, completing 2.3 per 90 minutes this season and 2 per 90 minutes last season. These are not extraordinary numbers, particularly for a wide attacker, but they do show that Depay has the ability to progress the ball forward via a dribble. This is a great attribute for a false 9 to have, as for a lot of the time the false 9's movement deep will result in them receiving the ball in behind the opposition's midfield, from where they're able to turn, and with the ability to dribble past players, the false 9 becomes a much bigger threat, being able to drop deep into the middle third, receive the ball and progress the ball into the final third. This is an attribute that Memphis is considerably better at than Lacazette is, which can be seen as the Frenchman has only completed 1.3 dribbles per 90 minutes this season. Memphis also has a great long range shooting ability, as seen as in the last 3 seasons he's overperformed his expected goals rate from outside the box by 4.95 goals. In the last few seasons, Memphis' overall expected goals rates have fluctuated dramatically, overperforming his XG by 6 goals in the 2017-18 season, before underperforming it by 4.2 goals in the 2018-19 season, and then overperforming it again this season by 4.43 goals. When we break down the numbers further, we can see that over the past 3 seasons, the overperformance in the XG comes from Memphis' shots from outside the box, where he overperforms his XG by 4.03 goals, whereas he's underperforming his XG when inside the box and in the 6-yard box. We can see Memphis' shot map from the past 3 seasons, and he is taking a lot of shots from outside the box. We can compare the shots he's missed in red to the shots he's scored in green, and we can see that he's probably overshooting from long range, as he isn't scoring a high amount from beyond the 25-yard mark, even though he is taking a lot of shots from this range. This is part of his game that can be refined under Arteta. Rather than shooting from these positions, Depay may be better served looking for a quick 1-2 or shifting the ball out wide to continue the progress of the attack. We have seen Depay do this to an excellent level when playing the false 9 role in the Netherlands side, so it's definitely a part of his game that I believe he can improve almost instantly in the Arteta system. So Memphis Depay isn't as clinical a finisher as other centre forwards in the league, but his role in the side is more of a creative one, with Aubameyang being the side's main finisher. So with Memphis in the side, Arteta's 4-3-3 system can be seen to full effect. As I've stated before, Arteta's in-possession shape resembles a variation between a 2-3-4-1 and a 2-2-4-2, with the central midfielder alongside Buendia, varying his movements from being high up the pitch in behind the opposition's midfield to deep between Roca and the inverted right back to create a deep block 5 in possession. The left back, Saka or Tierney, would advance forward down the left flank, allowing Aubameyang on the left to move into a wide centre forward position. Memphis will play the same role that Firmino plays at Liverpool, dropping deep from the forward line in an attempt to receive the ball in behind the opposition's midfield. This causes the opposition problems, as if they push high up the pitch in an attempt to press Arsenal's deep block 5, then this will create a bigger space in between the lines for Depay to move into. What may happen is that Depay's movement will force the midfield to be more reserved with their pressing, and therefore reduce the aggressive press on the likes of Dest, Carragher and Roca, and give them more time and space on the ball, allowing them to also dominate possession. Buendia and Memphis Depay will be Arsenal's two main creators in the final third, looking to sit high up the pitch and move into the spaces when they appear. Memphis' movement deep will also drag a centre-back out of the back line, which will leave space for Aubameyang to make runs into. The false nine's movement deep is quite different to the movement deep of, say, a deep lying forward like Lacazette. Whereas the deep lying forward will drop deep with the intention of receiving the ball, the false nine drops deep with the intention of opening up a space for a specific run. For example, if Depay drops deep into this area, the centre-back may not feel the need to move out of the back line, as a defensive midfielder can drop deeper to pick up Depay. However, if Depay drops deep into this slightly wider area, he's out of the zone of the defensive midfielder, which is more likely to force the centre-back to push up out of the back line to pick up the Dutchman. This therefore opens up a space for Aubameyang to make a run into. Both Buendia and Depay are excellent at creating chances via playing through balls for players making diagonal runs in behind the opposition's back line, which is a key movement that Aubameyang will look to make from the left side. Pepe will look to hold his width on the right a lot more than Aubameyang does on the left. Pepe thrives best when players are making runs ahead of him, as these runs drag defenders away from him, allowing him to cut inside on his left and progress the attack into the box with either a quick series of passes or a dribble by himself. Out of possession, Arsenal could drop into either a 4-5-1 or a 4-4-1-1 shape, depending on how Arteta wants to press the opposition. A potential weakness of the side I've assembled could be in the wide areas, with neither Saka nor Dest completely comfortable when defending against a higher quality wide player. This is where Arteta may feel the need to switch in Tierney and Bellerin into the fullback positions, who are both far better defenders, both in one-on-one situations and positionally than the other two. You can see my whole reasoning behind signing Dest at right back by clicking on the video which should be appearing in the eye above. It's the analysis I did on a video previous to this, so check that out after this video. With Buendia and Torreira in front of Roca, Arteta would now have a midfield capable of aggressively pressing the opposition high up the pitch, with both having the energy, stamina and defensive attributes to perform these pressing roles. The centre-back pairing change is also crucial to fulfilling this style. Mustafi and David Luiz aren't suited to playing in a high defensive line. Both players lack acceleration and aren't great positionally, which are the two important attributes needed for centre-backs defending high up the pitch. Both Konate and Saliba are much quicker than the other two, and in Konate, Arsenal would have a defender who excels when making recovery tackles, when chasing down forwards, making runs in behind him, which he has showcased throughout his RB Leipzig career. So overall, I think my 5 signings of Konate, Dest, Roca, Buendia and Memphis Depay would drastically improve the Arsenal squad, and improve Arteta's possession-based and aggressive pressing system as a whole. With these players being brought in, and older players like Lacazette, Ozil and Mustafi being moved on, Arsenal would dramatically reduce the age profile of their squad, giving them a core of players to build around for the next 5 or 6 seasons, which is something they have lacked in their transfer strategy for the past few seasons. They also would have improved squad depth with 2 capable fullbacks prepared to step in and replace the raw but talented Saka and Dest if needed. David Luiz and Holding are 2 good backup centre-back options to have, whilst Guendouzi can come in to play Torreira's ball-winning role in midfield, and Xhaka can also be used if needed. Players like Reiss Nelson and Martinelli will be squad players who should get a lot of game time over the course of the season, as both are potential starters for Arsenal in the future. Thank you for watching. Remember to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel because I will be doing this sort of series for other clubs like Barcelona, Chelsea, Real Madrid, Man City and Liverpool if you guys like those videos. Put your suggestions in the comment section below.